Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay cast. This is your host Overmind, and today we're going to be looking at a Gold League PvP. So let's go ahead and hop on in and introduce our players. Spawning down on the bottom right side of King Sejong Station in blue, representing Clan WF, it is GriM. And spawning up at the top left side of our map, in red, throwing down his first gateway, we have KGBXL, who I will probably shorten down to XL for most of the matchup because goodness knows I will trip all over that name. Now, I do want to note that there's a certain symmetry in the production tab, and that's to be expected from an early game mirror matchup, so we are speeding along a little bit. However, I do want to say that I really enjoy mirror matchups. I like the idea of having two players who both have the exact same resources and tech paths available to them, and the person who just plays better winds up winning. There's something very nice about that. Here we see a little scout from GriM, and there's been a bit of a scout over in GriM's base as well. We do have an additional gateway coming up for GriM, and we also have a proxy pylon. Devious. Excellent. And it looks like we're going to see a proxy Twilight Council. What does that mean in a PvP? Well, it means proxy DTs is what it's going to mean. There's no other reason to proxy a Twilight Council that I can think of, so almost certainly it will be DTs. We also have this lovely soon-to-be 3-gate setup here with Chrono Boost going down on the Cyber Core, and that, like as not, means that he wants to put some pressure on with these DTs. However, XL is not out of this game, not by a long shot, because we have a Stargate building. Which means that there's probably going to be an Oracle. Yes, both of the cheesy things that can be done as Protoss in the early game are going to be done. In fact, if we have a cannon rush to top this off, it would be perfect. It would be the cheese topping on the cheesecake. However, that's actually totally fine, because cheese is part of the normal meta. There's nothing wrong with any of this. This is just going to be a matchup between two fairly aggressive players. I do want to note that XL does have a forge. He's building a single cannon in his mineral line, which doesn't sound very significant, but it's going to really help with the whole DTs in his base soon thing. But right now, what's going to happen is both players are going to watch things build. So right now, XL is just waiting for this Oracle to finish up. And realistically, GriM is probably just really waiting for this Dark Shrine to finish, so that we can sort of get things underway. And it looks like XL is going to get things underway a bit faster. His Oracle has popped out, and is going to head on along. He's also finished up Warp Gate, so he's upgrading those into gateways. Has a bit of a supply block, I believe, right now, or he just came out of it a moment ago, and is building additional pylons to keep that from happening again. However, none of that is important because right now the Oracle is swooping on in. I'm going to go ahead and select him so that we can see how many kills he gets, because Oracles are quite good at killing small probe-like units, and in fact, since that's what he's attacking, should be very good at it. Now these probes are moving down to the natural away from the Oracle, but since they are probes, they're going to run right back to the nearest base to return their minerals, and that means so many kills. We're up to 13 so far. The sentries are the only things here that can hit air, and it looks like they are going to tickle our friend the Oracle away. But Oracles are very quick, so he can easily swoop in and do that again some other point in the game. But for the moment, he's out of energy. And here, we're going to see GriM do his best to do some harassment with the DT. Now, he's sending them in one at a time, which is something that I advocate, because you never know when your opponent will have detection. So here we see him run up to where there's a cannon and then run back. But down here there's no detection. The only unit that can detect in XL's army is that Oracle, which has spent all of its energy killing a bunch of GriM's probes. So it looks like the DTs are going to hack away at this gateway and nexus respectively. XL is waiting, not going to cancel the expansion just yet, going to try and hold it in there, and try to give this Oracle some time to recharge, because it is tough running around that quickly and killing that many probes. It is very hard work. There we see the cancel on both of those buildings. We did get a pylon. However, at the moment, still the only detection is that cannon. We are seeing some upgrades coming up for XL, which is very good. Generally speaking, that's exactly what you want. And here we have our DTs split up again. One here in the main, and one down at the natural. Now, GriM himself has this expansion up and running, is producing additional workers. Everything looks good for him right now. He's recovering quite well from that Oracle attack. However, the Oracle can detect now. We see that one probe running away from the DT, and will place down that expansion without trouble. There is still a DT in the main. However, there's a second cannon which will cover much of the main. And this DT might well get spotted as it moves down here. Indeed he does. I think this Oracle is going to be able to detect him effectively, and this army should be able to kill this off. Oh, is this DT going to make it out? Indeed he does. However, there is going to be a cannon here at the front of XL's base, which means that this might well be the end of this harassment for a little while. Now, while all that was happening, we do have GriM with a robotics facility, so he could warp in DTs if he so chose later in the game. We can also see him building immortals or detection for himself, which it looks like he has done, or any such units. The only thing that he can't make out of it is, of course, the Colossus, because he does not yet have that Colossus den up and running. And we see him filling out the rest of his base, facing a bit of a supply block, but overall, we can see that the worker supply is very much in GriM's favor. However, we're gonna see if it stays that way or not, because our friend the Oracle is about to move in. 14 kills, 15, he's a master now. He's a master Oracle. Here we have GriM's army moving up. Oh. Archons are scary, but Oracles are fast. We have a lot of energy left on this Oracle. We can get a few more kills. The army moves back around. Definitely want to make sure that we scare this off. And he gets 20 kills. He is an Executor Oracle. He's not an Oracle who has turned off his energy, so he's just going to slowly run out of energy, out of range of the base. We'll see if he winds up swooping in or not later. But GriM's mad. GriM's angry. He's moving out across the field with his army, which is not a bad plan, because right now he knows that his opponent is likely making air units, and Robo versus air is kind of not the best composition ever. This proxy is still functional by virtue of having this pylon here, allowing him to warp things in, and of course because he can make DTs and consequently Archons, which of course are not bad units. XL is about to find out about this proxy in a very disturbing fashion. Bam! Probe dead. Alright, he definitely knows that there's an imminent threat to his base. We have the third here. GriM elects not to go for that. There is a single pylon powering all of this. We do have a photon overcharge, GriM deciding to back away. Protoss armies are not super mobile. We do have a very nice time warp here. And we do have photon overcharges as well from the Void Rays. Now, for those of you who don't know, or excuse me, not photon overcharges, just that Void Ray beam that I'm totally blanking on the name for at the moment. However, that beam is particularly strong versus armored units, which is most of a Protoss army. We do see that he is... Oh, very nice force fields there. Void Rays are out of energy to do that overcharge again. And it looks like this is going to get cleaned up by GriM pretty effectively. Here we have the army advancing up. The Void Rays not going to be able to withstand this. There they go, both of them die. It's actually almost saddening to watch. These Void Rays are quite expensive, but GriM, again, very nice force fields on the probes. Backs up a little bit so that the Immortal cannot hit the whole of his army. Has not yet elected to deal with this because he is dealing with the natural expansion and containing pretty much all of the army up here in this main base. At the moment, XL is floating a lot of money and a lot of gas, not producing anything out of his Stargate, just making a single Immortal at the moment. So definitely could be making more things with all of that cash that he has in the bank. Because unless he makes a bunch of stuff and finds an answer for this, he probably will wind up losing the game. Looking at the army and worker supply in GriM's favor, even after all of those Oracle kills. Army supply also in GriM's favor, largely because XL is not producing anything. Back at home, we see that there are several Zealots running all the way across the map, and several Zealots joining us immediately from that pylon. These ones that are running all the way across, they actually are, they're a little out of shape. GriM wanted them to run across the map just to make sure that they got those Zealot leg upgrades. Here we see a bit of a sort of miss-micro here. There we go. Zealots move to the front, Stalkers move to the back to shoot from behind. We do see Zealots in the front and Immortals in the back for XL, which of course is a winning combination, if not for the large difference in the size of the relative armies. Additional Immortals are being added on, however, and Immortals are pretty great. They don't quite live up to their name, but pretty close. A couple pylons being killed off down here. And I don't think that there's really any micro necessary for this from GriM, although target firing down those Immortals would be quite good. There we are, there's the target fire on one of them, taking a bit of hull damage. Additional units are going to be warped in from that proxy pylon that GriM has going for him. One Immortal is down. We finally see some units being produced for XL. Most of them are Zealots, though. So he has a lot of gas, and realistically, units that cost gas tend to be a bit more durable and effective. I think this is going to be the end of it. We do see the GGs, and that is the game. So there we have it. Mirror matchup, both players taking things that are very effective in the early game, using them, and the one that winds up sort of manipulating that the best winds up winning. GriM, congrats on the win, and thank you for your submission. If you've enjoyed this cast and have a game that you really enjoyed playing and want to see cast on my channel, go ahead and send it to noobcrafted@gmail.com. And for those of you to GoSu to know what noob is spelled like, it's N-O-O-B, followed by crafted, C-R-A-F-T-E-D, @gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope to see you on the ladder. Have a good night.